Memphis is the home of the blues, rock and roll, and Earle Farrell.
From the Collierville Square to the mighty Mississippi, the Earle Farrell for Memphis show is all about good things that happen across the Bluff City and the people who make Memphis cool.
The Earle Farrell for Memphis show is made possible by our title sponsor, Southern Security Federal Credit Union, and by Kathy Thurman Edwards, State Farm Insurance.
Plus, Diane Kimbro, Lady Di, your insurance PI. Also by Dive Shop and Dive Ventures nationwide. Jim Karras Chevrolet with George Gully. Napa Cafe Memphis and Glenda Hastings. Phoenix Unequaled Home Entertainment. For Memphis Magazine. The Live at the Garden Concert Series. And the Orpheum Theater Group Memphis. Thank you to all the sponsors for making this possible.
And now, coming to you from Lansky Brothers, Clothier to the King, inside the world-famous Peabody Hotel, with the heart of a cowboy and Memphis in his soul. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, Earle Farrell.
And thank you very much, and welcome in on this hot, humid, steamy day in Memphis. If you're in Memphis, you want to be definitely inside someplace, and somebody's got their volume turned up on their phone. It was me.
Somebody would be you.
I have met the enemy, and it is me. That laugh belongs to only one person. That's Lady Di, Diane Kimbro. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I love your dress.
Thank you so much. It's a birthday present from my husband.
Oh, well, all right.
He picked it out and bought it for me. Wasn't that nice?
You didn't go, that one?
No.
One? No. Well, very tasteful. You did a good job.
I taught him well.
You did. Well, you teach all of us well all the time when it comes to health care and then other kinds of insurance. But right now, we've been in 6 months with a new president. And how is the State of the Union when it comes to health care?
I feel like the State of the Union is we are going to see a lot more flexibility in our ability to have health insurance policies that are going to create that capitalistic way of approaching it where people can now price it based on the services they offer, the benefits they offer. You're not going to be in a cookie cutter. You've got carriers that are coming out with better plans. You've got groups like association groups that are now coming out because Trump has supported that and pushed that. Part of this is kind of included in his big new bill. Some things of that have come through, and even the Medicaid. A lot of people misunderstand what's going on with Medicaid, but what's really happening with Medicaid is that they are going to make people accountable. You know, it's a transparency.
About that?
I know.
I mean, go figure.
Yeah, so if you are capable of working and you can work a job, even if it's part-time, the point is, if you have the capability and you're young, and if there's not anything going on with you disability-wise, you don't need to be on Medicaid.
No.
It needs to be for those that truly need it.
And we really don't even have any idea how many people have been committing fraud.
Exactly.
For years and years. They're dead people have been getting Medicaid. And,
exactly.
So all that really does go to help those who really do deserve it and who really should have it and earn it.
Now, another thing that's going to happen is because there are some accountability measures coming into place, on the Obamacare, we call it Obamacare or Affordable Care Act, the ACA or Marketplace, those subsidies, we call them tax credits or subsidies, people who it's based on income, and they're going to be lowering or taking away a majority of that subsidy, anywhere from 50 to 70%.
Wow.
So if I put someone on an ACA plan and they have an income, let's say, of $110,000, and it's he and his wife and his daughter and or child, they get a subsidy usually of around $800, $900, and maybe the policy cost $1,100, but the government was paying $800, so I got credited. Now it's going to go down to probably they'll pay $200 or $300.
That's it.
Right, because it's based on income,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to make it where again, not everybody's getting such a big tax rate. Plus, they did the big subsidies back right before COVID hit, or when COVID hit, because everybody was needing a break, right, financially. So those credits are going away. So a lot's changing in that arena. And I just see a lot more fluid and flexible approach to this now.
Because this is what I think I said in the promo, that what you do is help people weave their way through the challenge of healthcare, because it's not easy to understand. And you go to continuing education constantly to learn what's new and how to explain it and how to compare it. And that is what you really do, is you say, here's why this is good for you, this is why this plan is not good for you.
Right.
And you don't work for the insurance company, you're working for your client.
I tell them that all the time, yeah, because the insurance company might pay me for selling their product, but if I don't have confidence that I could use that product or my family could use it, I'm certainly not going to try it on you.
Well,
you're not going to be my little guinea pig.
But the thing is, with so many people, they work for the insurance company, and they're going to say, hey, one size fits all.
Right.
Now, you got to take some stuff that you don't really need, but that's the way everything is. But it's not the way everything is.
Right. Well, I was talking to my husband's son this weekend, and he's looking for something catastrophic. Well, he doesn't know what he's looking for. I'm trying to tell him what he's looking for. Let's put it that way.
I knew that was going to be your tactic.
But, he's like, I just don't go to the doctor. I just need to make sure that, if something happens, I'm covered. And I said, well, we've got the perfect approach and a plan for you, and it's going to be really affordable. There's catastrophic plans out there, short-term plans. And one of the things that Trump did before he left office the first time is that he extended those short-term plans from 3 months to 12 months. Well, when Biden came in, guess what he did? He made him go back to 3 months. So we could only write somebody on a short-term plan for 3 months, and then I'd have to write them again with another carrier.
Wow.
And they're underwritten, which means what if you had something happen between now and the next time we have to write you? You won't get coverage because of that pre-existing condition if it's a serious one.
Did it amaze you that was part of the deal to begin with?
Yeah.
That why would they do anything on a short-term basis when you knew you were going to have to, as soon as you get in, and 3 months don't last long.
Yeah, you do short-term plans like that for someone, let's say, that they are making a job change and they won't get their insurance for 3 months. And if they qualify, well, that's an easy fix. I can write you for a month. I can put children on that by themselves. So there are some positives to it. But you don't want that to be the primary if you can't have it for at least 12 months.
Well, and the other thing, too, I think, is that everybody thinks that the policy they have now, they can't really improve on. And what I've found just in talking to you over the years is nearly everybody gets a better deal after they talk to you and you get to look out and
100%.
see.
Well, I've gotten access to these association plans that we've talked about where maybe there's small groups of employees that are people that have small groups of employees that work together, but they come under one umbrella as an association, and now they're a big group. So now they get access to these really great major medical plans, just like what you look at when you look at an Obamacare plan. Those are major medical. That's because once you meet your deductible and out of pocket, you're covered 100%. And it's that's a major medical plan. There's no cap on it. So the same is true with these plans that I have now, and they're individual. So you can get on a group plan. It can be your individual private plan, and you have as good, if not better, benefits than you were on the government plan.
Wow.
And it many times it's more affordable.
And the whole thing really is is to get with you and go over all the issues you have personally. Because every
issues I have. Yeah. You don't want to know my issues.
I'm saying that in general. We all have issues.
Ask my husband. You don't want to know my issues.
But it's sitting down with you and just sitting there going, okay, because you can't really help them if you don't know every aspect of their situation, and everybody's different. And it doesn't take that long either. I mean, it's just in one phone conversation, you can pretty much get everything you need.
Yes, I can pretty much determine what direction we'll go in. And there's just very few things I need to know. I need to know what your medical history is. I need to know what your age is. I need to know the potential effective date. What's driving you to look for health insurance, because there's different reasons. Maybe you're turning 26 and you're coming off your parents, and now you got an adult. So call me and I'll help you adult up.
Well, in fact, we nearly called you the other day because Kathy was signing up for Social Security and Medicare. And
oh, honey, I just hit it, so you have to join me.
I forget some people are age sensitive. So.
We don't look it. We should talk at it, Kathy. It's okay.
But they want to know when the current policy began that she's on and when does it end.
Right.
And I said, well, it began whenever you look it up on your health care.
Well, they don't mean literally the initial beginning. They mean like did it start January 1st? So you can go January 1st, and then if it doesn't end while you're signing up for Medicare, then you just have no ending.
Yeah, well, it
And I'll
didn't
be
give
glad to
you. It
help
didn't
you.
give you.
I have the answers to this.
It didn't give you a place to put no ending, did it?
Well, it does. It gives you a place to put a date, or you just leave it blank.
You see, that's why I'm saying you need
Well,
to talk
that's why
to
you should
Diane.
call me.
Yeah, because there's so many things about these applications that make it so ambiguous.
You know somebody? Her name is Lady Di,
Yeah.
your insurance PI. And I have been your personal PI.
She had for more years than I care to admit, because I am age sensitive. So, give me your phone number. We'll give it out again here in a minute.
Sure, and I'm licensed in all 50 states. So if you're needing insurance, I can help you wherever you live.
Can you help the people in California? Because
Yes.
they have
Yes.
serious problems out
Yes,
there.
I'm licensed in California. I have some great plans.
But you don't have to go there.
No. It's 901-606-9091.
There you go. And the great thing about it is that she is licensed in all states, because so many people that live here in Memphis travel to Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee in their daily business. And if you're out of network in one of those places and you have a problem, you go to the
paying out of
hospital,
pocket.
You're paying out of pocket. So that's a huge reason to get with Diane, because she can make sure that you're covered in all three of these states and throughout really the country, whatever you need.
Not only that, it's really difficult. Everybody I talk to says, I hate insurance. I'm like, I get it. I hate it too. But it's a necessary evil.
It's like air conditioning. Because mine's been out of my car for like 3 weeks.
Oh.
And you don't really miss it till you ain't got it. And then when you're missing it, you are really missing it.
That's true.
And that's what the deal is with healthcare insurance. If you think you got it, you better make sure, because there are clauses, and people find out in many cases way too late when they go to the hospital, and they say, well, that's not covered. You go,
Well, here's another scenario. I had this happen to me with a client a year and a half ago. He heard us on the radio show when we had that, and he called me and he said, my wife had got us on a policy. I didn't do it. I had heard you, but I never called you. And I should have called you.
The bus?
We threw 100%. And he said, and now, unfortunately, we owe $300,000
What?
for her because she had a pre-existing condition that wasn't covered. And whatever happened to her in the hospital, they're going to find a way if they can.
Yeah.
If there's something hidden there, they're going to tie it back into that pre-existing condition. So they didn't cover anything. And he was in tears. And so a lot of good came out of that after we got to talk. But the point is, just because you talk to someone and they have a license to sell you insurance,
Doesn't mean they're
does that
right.
really mean they're qualified, or are they just looking for, we call it commission breath? Do they have commission breath, or are they really interested in helping you?
Yeah.
And they weren't interested in helping them. So anyway, you just have to be really careful too.
So what happened with the people? Did you end up getting them covered at all? Or?
I did. I got he and his wife. This was the one that I told you, and sadly, she was really sick. Got her on an ACA plan and got all her benefits covered for her next surgery.
Wow.
And gave him the number to call the Tennessee Department of Insurance and report that agent.
Complaint.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then an appeal the fact that it wasn't covered, and and then sadly, about 6 to 7 months later, his wife passed.
Wow.
But we are still in touch, and now I'm helping him with Medicare. So, I developed these relationships that I might start you out under 65, but we're going to transition you into Medicare when it's time as well.
Yeah, because ever since I turned 65, many of my friends don't contact me anymore. So I don't know why, but that just seems to be the way it
I
works.
wonder what's happening there.
And don't invite Earle. Well, it is a complicated world, but that's why I think you've done very well in it, because you do your research and you stay up on it, and that's not easy because every state's got different rules and regulations. So.
Yeah, and the other thing is, not every agent has access to all the things I have access to. I mean, I really do uncover the best, the most, what do you say, forward-thinking, or the most
Out of the box.
progressive that we can find.
Yeah.
That's the newest thing, but not the newest and shiniest, but the newest and the best.
Which is what you're looking for all the time.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, give me your phone number one more time.
It's 901-606-9091.
And you and Bill have been going to a lot of cool. I saw you on the lake, last weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it hot on the lake?
What do you think? No. No, it wasn't because we were in the water.
Well, I've been at Pickwick before on a boat with no top on it. And believe me, it gets hot out there.
Well, we put our top up.
Yeah.
I have to have the top because I've got to protect.
Yes.
Now that I'm 65, I don't want to look it, so I
Yeah.
got to keep the top on.
Well, in fact, Kathy got me this new skincare product that I'm wearing.
I got my husband some skincare products.
Yeah. I don't think mine's had enough time to work, though.
Well, he left his at the lake.
He'll be back. Well, thanks for coming in, and always
I've
good seeing
enjoyed
you.
it, always.
And we'll do it again soon.
I certainly enjoyed it. Thank you, Earle.
You're welcome. Lady Di, Diane Kimbro. All right, we're going to take a quick break here from our other sponsors, so we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dawn Grader, President and CEO of Southern Security Federal Credit Union. We're the proud title sponsor of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show, coming to you live from Lansky's in the world-famous Peabody Hotel and celebrating all of the great things about our great city, Memphis, Tennessee.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm so proud to be part of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show, streaming live from Lansky's from the Peabody. We will be showcasing not only Napa Cafe, but some great restaurants around town. We look forward to seeing you.
Hi, everyone. It's Diane Kimbro, Lady Di, your insurance PI. And I'm here to tell you about the new podcast that Earle Farrell from Memphis is doing. And we're doing it downtown live from the Peabody, which is behind me, and next to the Rendezvous. And we're going to be talking all things Memphis, but we're also going to be talking about health insurance because that applies to everyone. And I can help you in every area. So I look forward for you listening to us and learning more about what we can do for you in Memphis and how I can help you with your health.
Hello, Memphis Mid-South. And first, I'd like to thank you for visiting with Earle Farrell Memphis today. And we want to support him just like you do. I'm George Gully, one of the sales managers at Jim Carrey Chevrolet. We've been in business here in Memphis for over 75 years. I've been associated with the company for almost 25. And I'll help you find the right car, truck, or SUV here at not only our Chevy store, but also Buick, GMC, Nissan, Subaru. We can help you find that right car. Keep watching Earle and come see me. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Kathy Thurman Edwards, State Farm, and I'm so excited to be one of the sponsors for the Earle Farrell from Memphis show, broadcasting live from Lansky's at the Peabody. And I'll tell you all about what we've got going on at our office. Gift cards for quotes. No purchase necessary. I'm better looking than a lizard.
Hi, this is Randy Wright from the Dive Shop and Dive Ventures in Memphis. We've been in Memphis over 64 years teaching people to dive, snorkel, and swim. We'd love to have you come join us and have some fun. We're also a part of the Dive Ventures group with 18 locations across the country, stretched from Phoenix to Vienna, Virginia. Please give us a call. We'll be able to take care of you at 999 South Yates in Memphis or call us at 901-763-DIVE.
Hi, I'm Brett Batterson, President and CEO of the Orpheum Theater Group in downtown Memphis. We are so pleased with our partnership with the Earle Farrell Show and very happy that he is broadcasting live from Lansky's at the historic Peabody Hotel. We're all here to make Memphis better.
Hi, my name is Jameson Todd, and I'm the director of Live at the Garden and the Radiance Amphitheater. And we're so excited for our 25th year of Live at the Garden here at the Memphis Botanic Garden. We've got a great lineup for you this season, so come on out.
Hi, I'm Olivia Wall, Director of Marketing and Communications for Memphis Botanic Garden and Live at the Garden. We've had Earle Farrell right along the way for the past 25 years, and we can't wait to talk more about the season this summer on the Earle Farrell for Memphis show.
So come out to Live at the Garden. Our first show's on June 21st.
Hi, I'm Mitch Wright.
And I'm his son, Mickey.
And we're the owners of Mitch Wright Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
And proud sponsors of the Earle Farrell from Memphis show.
We're thankful to be part of the Memphis community. We've been in business for 42 years, taking care of people and loving the people of the Mid-South.
Hey, my name is Jake. I'm with Phoenix Unequaled Home Entertainment. I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of what I do here at Phoenix. I'm a sales engineer. A lot of the times we talk about home theaters, but there's so much more that we offer. We offer a lot of home security solutions, as well as water detection and everything. So if you guys ever need anything, give us a call. We'll get you guys fixed up.
And welcome back to Lansky's. There's only one place like it in the world. We were just talking to Jerry Phillips, who is my next guest, and he's wearing a Lansky original right now, although I guess Elvis got his jacket that Gola made like that here.
Yeah.
And most of the clothes that he first started out wearing were all from Lansky's.
Well, they were, and you know what? It's telling my age a little bit. When I was like 8 years old, and I've known the Lanskys all my life, and we came down here and they made me a coat with a velvet collar. And I mean, that was something special, then, and so it was really cool. I really liked it a lot.
Well, the thing I think is so great about it is that Bernard was so close to all the entertainment people in this community, because this is a poor community. And before a lot of these great people, musicians and entertainers from Memphis got famous and rich, they didn't have any money. And Bernard would give them an outfit it was wear out and pay later.
Right.
And because they didn't have any money. But they had the gigs. And I remember he said Isaac Hayes came in one time. He had his shoe roped together with some twine because the sole had separated from the rest of the shoe. And he said, I got to have something nice to wear, Mr. Lansky, and I got a gig tonight, but I can't go out there like this. And he said, no, don't you worry, we're going to take care of you. And they did it for that. They did it for Sam the Sham. They did it, of course, for Elvis.
Elvis. I mean, Sam Phillps, my dad, and the Lanskys had the same kind of objective, which was they wanted to help people.
Yeah.
They wanted to make money, too, don't get me wrong, but they wanted to help people. And I know, I heard the story that Elvis said, I'm going to buy your store one day, and Mr. Lansky said, don't buy my store, just buy your clothes from me, you know what I mean? And so, and then Hal, I mean, what a great job he's doing, here.
He and Julie, who were at
right.
the store right across the hall from us for the women's store. But when we were setting up to do the show here, he said, I got a perfect table in here, which is one we're sitting at.
Hang
right
on,
now.
Somebody's calling. It must be my girlfriend.
He's on a TV show on the...
Can I answer it and tell her what I'm
Sure,
doing?
yeah, tell him where we are.
I'm in the middle of a radio show.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I got you on speakerphone, though. I got you on speaker.
Yeah, we got that.
Okay, all right. Bye.
Well, there you are.
Sorry,
Live.
I'll turn my phone off now.
That's a live internet action there. So
there was a phone ringing in the middle of one of Sam's blues songs, and because the secretary was gone, and all the guys in the band said, we got to do another cut. He said, are you kidding me? We're not going to throw away the best cut we got because there's a damn telephone ringing in the middle of it.
Telephones ring.
He said, that's something we could have never, it could have never happened if we'd planned it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
it's, this is, especially for you, I mean, this, Elvis's week is coming up next. You've got a new album coming out, which in many ways says what the Phillips family's always been about is no matter where you are.
Hang on a minute, I'm going to cut this damn thing off. This is what happens when you're jamming, you know what I mean?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Hey, I'm sorry, man, but this is a new phone, and the guy talked me into it.
But he ain't here right now.
He ain't here right now.
You've always been survivors. I mean, Sam came from Alabama. In fact, I met him when I first got here to Memphis in 1978. Went to Phillps studio, and Jim Elliott, Steve Lacy, and I sat down. Knox was there. In 78, how old were you in 78?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. And evidently you're another age-sensitive person.
I mean,
I do know.
I tell all the girls I'm 60-plus change, okay? Not much.
But the whole thing is that Sam, when he moved down the street from Sun, basically started it all over again, and then started buying up the radio stations, which you were involved with over the years, and but still have Sam Phillips recording, and you still produced, and your brother did, and you've come out with your first album ever. Did that kind of surprise you that this tender age you would say, I got an album in me?
Well, what happened was when COVID hit, we were about to start my album. That was like, I don't know how many years ago now was it? How was it? 3 years? 4 years?
More like 4 or 5 years ago.
But nobody wanted to get in the studio together, because everybody was scared to death. So But a friend of mine named Jim Whitehead, a great piano player, and I had been working every Wednesday for like 2 years. And I wasn't used to co-writing really that much. And he brought his piano over. He's a great piano player, but it also had a drum beat in it. He would play bass with his left hand. So I'd start the rhythm on something. He'd get a drum beat that would go with it. And then he'd play bass with his other hand, then piano with his other hand. We had a rhythm section,
Wow.
man. It's a great way to write. I mean, and his keyboard didn't sound phony, you know what I mean? It did not sound like
Chinny, real thin.
It didn't sound a computer based.
Yeah.
It just sounded like somebody had a drummer in the room.
Yeah.
And that was a great way to write, man, because all of a sudden you got a rhythm section, and then it inspires you to. If you're just sitting there with your guitar and everything, you can write great songs. But honestly, if you got somebody there, and his piano playing was like inversion. You know what inversion is? Like you make an A chord, you can make it 5 or 6 different ways.
No clue.
Well, I can make an A on guitar, and he can make an A on piano, which would be completely different notes, but the same key. You know what I mean? So it give it a depth perception.
I know it sounds good. I just don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
By the way, I do want to mention, hold up your ring again that belonged to your dad.
Where do I hold it? Where do I
hold it right there. You got a camera right here looking at you.
Okay, well, see this ring right here, and I wore it for Earle's benefit and Hal Lansky's benefit. My dad, when he made some money with Elvis, he bought him a ring, you know, and it's a pretty nice one. I won't tell you how much it was valued for when I had it.
It's a big one. I can see
it's a big one.
The fire shooting off it all the way over here.
I only wear it for special occasions when I think Sam needs to be here.
And he's here.
And he's here right now. And I knew you would.
Over here, sir. Point it over here.
All right.
Yeah, she can zoom in. There, that's a good shot.
Now, I had it cut down to fit my little finger because that doesn't mean his hands are that little, but
But you are big.
I'm a big guy.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, that was the same thing. I wear it on my
Oh,
little
yeah,
finger
you got one, too.
because
Is that your dad's ring?
It's my dad's ring.
Wow,
Yeah.
isn't that weird?
Well, no, because we were close to our dads.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And that is one thing I wanted to ask you about. And since you mentioned it, I wanted to go ahead and get into it. Is, you know, you were a very close family, and you're iconic in the music industry worldwide.
Thank you.
To be left of the last standing one because Knox is gone, your dad's gone, that's got to be not just a responsibility, because obviously you're going to be the same person whatever the deal is, but that all the people you shared all those things with over the years, they're gone. And you don't realize how much you enjoy reliving some of those things and remember this, remember that, because they're gone.
Well, they are. And, you know, one of the things that helps me out is my daughter. I have 2 daughters. And my daughter, Hallie, she co-produced my album with Scott Bomar, who has the Bo Keys, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that's really for them to carry on the legacy and really be interested in it. You know what I mean? Not just jiving, but really have a passion about it. It's a big thing, and you know, I miss Knox, I miss Sam. I do.
You always will.
I do. You know, but now I realize. Sometimes Sam and I argued a lot because I never wanted to be in the shadow of him. You know what I mean? I was, you know, I don't want to be in your shadow, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I went off and worked for swimming pool company. There was an Army Reserve. I did all the truck lines, did all this stuff. And then one day I woke up, and I am the prodigal son. I said, "What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You know, you got a studio. Go back." So I went back, and Knox nor Sam ever brought it up again. You know that
said welcome home.
Because if you're in a family business, if you leave the business, you kind of leave the family. I mean, it's just the kind of way it is. But anyway, they never said like, well, you know, you let us down, or they didn't say nothing. We just started rolling right along,
right up where you left
just
off.
like, and that's because they loved me and I loved them, and you know, and I was the one that was wrong, you know.
But you were young, and everybody, there's so many, that's the reason I think it's interesting, because Hal took over his dad's business, and then now his daughter is in it.
Man.
And I think a lot of people think, well, I've been around this business my whole life. I think I'm going to go try some other stuff. You go do that, and you go, man, I'm going back to something that I knew and that I had a leg up on.
Well, here's the deal about it. Most people think, you know, if you're carrying on a family business that you just had it handed to you, you know what I mean? And Hal, I mean, like me, I mean, if you ever worked for Sam Phillips or was his son, I'm telling you,
there was no
he was
easy
a harsh
road.
taskmaster. I mean, I'm not saying there was anything bad about it, but, you know, he wanted you to work.
Yep. Well, that's like
know?
here in the store when we were getting ready to do the show here. we came down, looked at the table. This is, by the way, an old Cadillac hood. And,
Really?
Yeah. The benches,
awesome.
and it's got the Cadillac emblem for the trunk right over here on this side of the table. But
You're cooler than I thought you were.
Well, Hal is. And but there was no chairs here in Lansky's. I said, "You don't have any chairs?" He goes, "We don't sit down at Lansky's."
Hey, I get it, man.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, so that was kind of Sam. You had chairs in front of the console because you had to sit down there.
Had to sit down,
and the sessions were long.
Yeah.
But we've got some pictures. In fact, this is the album cover of your new album, For the Universe, which is I love the title.
That's a '57 Chevrolet that Jim Harrington. Jim Harrington is kind of a famous photographer. Came and took these pictures, and he said if I was a girl, I'd take you out. That's what he told me. He said, but I'm not.
I would rather have that car, 1957 Chevrolet, or a '68 SS396 than a Rolls
Super
Royce.
Sport. Yeah, me too, man.
I mean, I just those are classic cars, and I just get around them, and I just go. I say, can I just stick my head inside so I can smell the car because they still have that same smell. It's amazing.
Well, the '60s. Actually, the '50s and '60s cars were my favorite cars. When it got to '70s and '80s, it was, somewhere along the line,
it went south.
The guys quit smoking dope that were designing those things, and so the cars just didn't look so good anymore.
Jerry Phillips revealed today that the car design in America went downhill after the dope smoking stopped.
Yeah, you can't trust anybody these days, Earl.
I understand. There's another picture here. This is you and your gold lame jacket. And have you always played the guitar? Is that your instrument, or what is?
Yeah, I'm a piano player too, but I wouldn't hire myself for a session, But I can play a little bit.
In fact, Kathy said you're a friend of Norbert Putnam, who's a good friend of ours too.
Norbert's great.
Talk about an incredible studio musician. I mean,
he did a lot, man.
Yeah,
he did a lot.
The Muscle Shoals area, which you're so familiar with. But you actually live at Pickwick. That's where you live?
I live. Well, it's a place called Eastport. The whole area is called Pickwick.
Yeah.
But it's a place called Eastport Marina, and it's a lot less hectic than Aqua Yacht up there. It gets pretty busy up there, but where I live is pretty
and quieter.
And it's seasonal. People come down there. I live there all the time, but in the wintertime, it's hard. Me and 2 or 3 other people live there full time.
Which is why I always love going there in the winter because nobody's there.
It's great.
This next picture is one that was actually in the studio with you and Knox. Knox was always wearing football jerseys.
I don't know what that was.
Was it? But they weren't always the same number either.
No, I know it. I don't know what it was. And I had these English beard chops or something. I don't know what was wrong with me there either. But I think we were mixing John Prine's Pink Cadillac album.
Really?
Probably, yeah.
I'm just looking at the console and the sliders and just how all that's changed over the years.
We still got it. I mean, everybody's gone to Pro Tools, but you still have to have a console. You don't have to. I mean, you can have a Pro Tools set up in your basement, which is basically a computer recorder, But you know what?
There's a lot of people that are saying they don't like the digital sound. In fact, a lot of kids are buying phonograph albums and players because they like the sound of old-fashioned records.
Analog, yeah. Well, we do a lot of recording to analog, and then we transfer over to Pro Tools, which is digital, to mix it because you can do a lot of things to it, But generally, we don't do a lot to our music because if you can't sing, we're not going to tune you, and and we're not necessarily going to take out every mistake that you make.
Yeah, here's a picture of Boo Mitchell along with Laura and you, and he is what a guy he is. His dad, Willie, used to play for me at Sleep Outs. I had Sleep Outs just down the street. On Friday nights, come in and people come. Is that really Willie Mitchell? I said, in person.
Man, Willie Mitchell and Boo. Boo, that's another one's carried on the tradition of his family, and he's done a great. He's got a damn Grammy.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or more than one. I'm not sure, but he's done a good job, and Laura and I dated for a while. She's a great girl, and you see she's taller than me.
She is.
I like tall girls, But anyway, interesting to about Willie Mitchell and Sam. Willie moved in my dad's neighborhood like in 60 something. He was the first black person in that neighborhood. And my dad was the first one up there to welcome him to the neighborhood, and we all went up there and, said, "Man, we're glad you're here," and all of that. And Willie's white Rolls Royce was parked out front, and it was just a great thing.
That's really why Sam went up there. He wanted to take a ride in that Rolls Royce.
You wanted to see that Rolls Royce.
This next one is you. This looks like it's out in California.
I was out in California with Dr. Ellickman. He's a heart surgeon, and I went out there for his anniversary, and we were sitting there.
Well, I was going to say, you look very California right there.
Well,
but you do have the Phillps Studio T-shirt on.
I do.
You're advertising wherever you go.
Yeah, I like California. I like Florida, but I don't know about now how much I like California. Well, but I'm not being political. I'm just saying. Used to be the Beach Boys songs were talking about 2 girls for every boy. So that was stuff that really made you want to go.
It did. Well, there was a mystique about California when you were growing up. I was in West Texas. We were in the middle of nowhere, and so you'd hear Beach Boy music. But I even knew then that the clothes that were fashionable came out of California first. In fact, that's when Bernard really started cashing in on the clothes, as he would go to California, find out what was hot, bring all that to Lansky's here in Memphis on Beale Street. And that's why Elvis hung out there, Jerry Schilling, all those people, because you couldn't get clothes like this anywhere else unless you went to California. And even then, you had to go to a bunch of different stores. But Bernard brought it all back together here. And then what he would do is drive the van, which we had in a copy of For Memphis Magazine not long ago, a reproduction of this old paneled van, that he would go out to Graceland and bring shirts and jackets and everything. And when I did a long video biography on Bernard, and he said, what we used to do is go out there, anything Elvis bought, we'd buy hundreds of them.
Well, you can't accuse the Lanskys of ever being stupid.
No. And they would bring them back, and he'd only put 3 or 4 on the rack or whatever else, And then as soon as those were gone, he'd replace them. But everybody wanted to feel like they had something nobody else had.
Well, yeah, and you still can come here today and get something that nobody else has.
Oh, we have sold a ton of clothes, mostly jackets, since we started doing the show here, because I wear a different jacket every show. And they all look custom fitted.
Well, it's just you can't, used to be, honestly, years ago, the only place you could find clothes like this was where the black entertainers shopped.
Because that was cool.
They were the coolest. It was the coolest thing, Nobody that wanted to was wearing button-down collars. You know what I mean? So you'd have to go to these black stores, and they had cool clothes. And then I think Howard could correct me, but I think Mr. Lansky started catering sort of to the black market too.
Well, he always had, because he was on Beale Street.
Yeah, and then Elvis and them came down here, and it's an amazing story, man. I don't think everybody really knows about it.
The thing that I think is so amazing about it is that all these people were here when I got here. Jerry Lee, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Roy Orbison, all these people that came through Sun Studios, which is, when you look back at it, is an amazing feat that many talented people came through there because of your dad. I mean, he had an ear for what sounded he knew would work.
Well, when he opened the studio, he was working at the radio station that was in this building, WREC. Is it still here?
No, it moved. It is now at a building off of American Way in Perkins.
But anyway,
high rise.
He worked here and then in the radio, and then he also mixed all the big bands that came through the Skyway up there.
Yep.
I'm talking about the big band guys,
Glenn Miller
and he fed that to the network radio stations, and then he opened a studio, and all he wanted to do was record black artists, because he didn't think they were going to get a chance to be heard.
Well, they couldn't get in any other studios.
And there was Ike Turner was a talent scout for him eventually, but the word was out there was a white man in Memphis that would record. You could come in and record for free, and if he liked you, he'd put a record out on you, or lease a record to Chess. Like Howlin' Wolf and them guys are all on Chess, but my dad was getting paid to record them for those labels. He never wanted a label because he didn't want to deal with the business aspect of everything. He just wanted to do the music.
Well, and it's because he was a talent of himself, and I think his real talent is he recognized other talent and recognized it immediately.
Can I say a not so perfect word on this show?
I'm not saying it. You are.
Okay. Well, we were I've told this story before, but to me it really sums things up. We were at an after party, and I'm not going to say who the band was or anything, but it was a big band. They were very, very big, and we were all drinking a little bit, and their English manager came up and said, "Mr. Phillips, what's the secret of rock and roll? You know, what's the secret of it?" And he said, he looked me right in the eyes. He says, "Well, son, you got to reach way down deep inside yourself and pull it out of your asshole." I thought right then, there's your definition of rock and roll. There it is.
And lasting.
And, you know, if you're in the recording studio and you're not reaching that far down to get your own self out, then you're really wasting your time. And that's kind of...
Well, but you do have to have talent.
Well, you do have to have talent.
There has to be something in there that says this is... Because you look at the different voices. I mean, I was talking to Norbert Putnam and had him on my show. And he was talking about Elvis recorded one album at Stax. And so they were covering some different artists. And so they were coming up with their ideas for the end of this session. And somebody said, "Elvis, what about Roy Orbison?" And Elvis goes, "Man, if I thought I could copy a Roy Orbison song, I'd have done it a long time ago."
Yeah.
But ain't nobody can sing like Roy.
Well, man, look, listen, this is the truth. Elvis came, and that's not when it started. It started with B.B. King, Howlin' Wolf, and all those guys. And none of those guys sounded like each other.
No.
But you listen to Elvis, and then after Elvis, there was Carl Perkins, who didn't sound anything like Elvis. And then after Carl Perkins was Johnny Cash. He didn't sound anything like Elvis or Carl Perkins. And then there was Jerry Lee Lewis, who came. He didn't sound anything like any of those guys. No. And then there was Roy Orbison, Billy Riley, Charlie Rich. They all came, but as soon as they opened their mouth, you knew who was singing, you know. And that's, to me, that's kind of what's missing today a little bit.
They all sound so much like each other.
You know, who I don't know who that is singing, you know. I should be able to know who that is singing, you know.
Well, it's the thing I thought was so cool about, though, is after I moved here and started meeting all these people, including your dad, is that they were all so approachable. Carl Perkins was one of the nicest people I've ever met. You'd never have known that he was an artist and did blue suede shoes and known worldwide. And I asked him one time, I said, do you look back on your life and think, I really missed a big shot by having the car accident and being out for over a year? Elvis does blue suede, covers it, shoots to the top of the charts.
Yeah.
And Carl says, you know, I've had the best life I could have ever imagined. And he said, I've gotten to play with the best people in the world. I've been known all over the world. I got to do my music. And I still got to have a family and live in Jackson, Tennessee, and lead a normal life. And he said, Elvis got none of that. None of that was normal.
That's true. Well, you know, and I don't think it was Elvis's idea, but, you know, they were on, I think Carl Perkins and them were on their way to one of those shows like that. I don't think it was Ed Sullivan. It was somebody else, but they had that bad wreck, and I think his brother got killed in it, you know. And but the record was going way up the charts, and then Elvis came out with blue suede shoes, and it just crushed Carl.
Yeah,
I thought Elvis was my friend, all that, but the thing is,
made him more money.
He's made so much money off of blue suede shoes because Elvis did it.
I forgave
him.
So
I think he's forgiven Elvis for that, you know, and because that's where the money is in the music business is publishing
and writing.
Yeah. I mean, it just is.
In fact, Elvis, people said about him, it may have been your dad, that he was the perfect star. He had great looks, charisma. He was an incredible talent, but he didn't write. He said if he could have written and come up with great hits, he would have been the trifecta of music.
You know, there's a great story about Dolly Parton and, you know, I Will Always Love You song, you know. They pitched that to Elvis, and he was going to cut it, but Tom Parker, which I don't have anything against Tom Parker, but he said, we're not going to cut it unless we get half the publishing, you know. And Dolly said, I'm sorry.
That ain't happening.
It ain't going to happen. And it didn't happen, but, you know, I think it's maybe one of the most recorded songs of all time.
Well, then Whitney Houston did it, and
Whitney
it was
Houston did it, you know, but that shows you how smart Dolly was. And, you know, I don't know, you know, this show business thing is a wonderful thing. It really is, but it's tough, man. If you want something tough, get into music business, you know.
In fact, I was talking to somebody on the show the other day, and I said the worst thing in the world to me would be have a little talent, because if you got a little, you want to do it, you want to go perform.
Yeah.
But thank God I had zero, because I was never tempted to go out and be in a band, because they said, well, what do you play? Nothing.
Nothing. Well, that's okay though. I mean, it's just.
Well, you got to have the fans. You got to have the support, and that's what part we play.
Well, my dad, a lot of people would come up to him and say, and I hate to always just talk about my father, but
he was a big influence.
You can't talk about music of any description without talking about him. But he always says, when the fans, or whatever the word is for the people that came up to see him, he'd always say, if it wasn't for you guys buying my records, I wouldn't be anything.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. If they hadn't have bought those records, he wouldn't. Nothing would have been successful. And
I just know there was a guy that did a photo journal of Elvis when he went to New York for the first time on the train. And RCA hired him to go to Memphis, get on the train with him, because this is his first time to New York, first time for all this. And so he's taking pictures of him all along the way. And Elvis just didn't look like anybody else.
No.
I mean, he was like, in fact, I was listening to Jerry Reed talking about him in an old interview the other day. He said, when I met him, he said, this may sound weird. He said, I'm not gay, but he said he's the most beautiful human being I'd ever seen.
I agree. Especially after he got into movies, because when he was coming out of our house after he made movies, he was wearing makeup. I mean, he was wearing makeup, brother.
Did you notice it?
He looked good. But, I mean, I tell guys, I'm no expert on anything, but I tell some of the guys, if Elvis would, like some of these country guys now, if Elvis would have came out with his a hat on backwards, and a T-shirt with holes in his knees, and I don't think he'd have been Elvis Presley. He came out with pink clothes on.
Well,
and
that was Bernard.
White shoes. Yeah, I mean, and he looked great. I mean, if you're in show business, man, I think you need to dress up a little bit.
Well, which is why we're here at Lansky's. I said because you look at there's a picture right here of your dad and Elvis, and who is the woman?
Marion McGinnis.
Okay,
she was his secretary at the time.
And but you look at Elvis even then, and he wouldn't get his hair cut by some $50 an hour hair guy. But then when he really started, there was a picture this photographer took of him going across Grand Central Station when they got to New York. He's walking, and the place is like empty. These two girls in big kind of hoop skirts, not hoops, but petticoat skirts, right?
Petticoats, yeah, petticoats. That was
hoop. That was back in my Civil War days.
I know, before you was born. I know.
And he walks past him. He walks past him, and he never looks back. And he's got that coat on right over there that's he was on the Ed Sullivan Show with. Great looking shoes, slacks. They both these girls turn to watch him walk by, and the photographer grabs it in wide angle lens. He never looks back. He has his portable record player with him, and that's all he's carrying.
Yeah.
And even women in New York City saw him walk by and said, "That ain't like nobody we've ever seen before."
And he was not like anybody you'd ever seen before. And when he was on the Ed Sullivan Show, they only showed him from the waist up
because of the wiggling. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying this guy was so different, and he, still today, 500,000 people come through Graceland every year. He's been dead since 1977.
Yeah. In fact, he's been dead now longer than he was alive.
Absolutely.
Isn't that amazing?
Absolutely. Hey, look, man, when he used to come out to our house, my brother and I were young. I don't know, probably 7, 8, 9 years old. I don't know what we were, but...
Hey, I got a shot of it that's about that age. Take a look.
Yeah, there you go. That's me on the left, and my brother on the right, and Elvis. You think that's not the coolest guy you've ever seen in your life? And let me tell you, I think at that point they were girls. I mean, they were not under 18, but I'd never seen so many good-looking girls in all my life, And I said to myself, I think this is what I want to do, And then one night Ann Margaret shows up,
Wow.
That's a beautiful woman. But, my parents were so cool that Elvis would call about 11 o'clock and say, "Hey, do y'all mind if my daddy'd answer or my mother, or whatever," and he'd say, "Do you mind if we come by?" And he said, "No, come on over." So we'd be in bed, but they'd come back and wake us up
because
so
Elvis
is coming over. Most parents would have said, you guys stay in your room. Do not come out, okay? Just do not come out. But they didn't, and I learned a whole lot more those nights than I would have if I'd gone to school the next day. They would say you could miss school tomorrow, you know.
But they're telling stories, and that's what Southerners do. Is you tell stories.
It was a happening, man. I mean, and you know what? Nobody was drinking. Elvis was drinking Cokes.
Yep.
You would think it was all a drunk deal, but it really wasn't. And you know, he'd pull out his guitar, and then when Jerry Lee would come over, he would play the piano. And I mean, it was just a wonderful thing for me, and it didn't affect me at all, you know what I mean? But I mean, you know, I'm a little bit crazy, you know, because of all of that.
But think about it. When did you realize that you were living a very rare life in rare air and around rare people?
Well, you know, I think it was Elvis that brought that knowledge, because I mean, my dad was just doing what he was doing. You know, he had a recording studio. He was just recording people, and if we wanted to see him, we had to go down there. My mother had to take us down there because he was working here till 3:30, 7 to 3:30, and he was going there and telling him when he'd get home. But when Elvis showed up, I mean, I knew there was something special about this business, you know. And then, I mean, the string of people that he discovered, you know, was like, and every one of them were poor guys, man. They all had picked cotton, and they were just poor. They were poor whites, and he started off with poor blacks.
Yeah.
It was kind of the same.
Well, it's kind of, I think
thing,
nearly,
you know?
except for very few people, were poor in this whole area. I mean, there wasn't any big businesses where people would get out of high school and go to work in like IT people or.
No.
In fact, becoming a musician probably was one of the best ways of getting out of the cotton patch as anything else, because
for sure.
there are bands everywhere. Here's another photo of you guys a little bit older, but look.
Yeah. I got the same shirt on.
I was going to say, you guys were twins. So I want one like Elvis.
Do I look like I'm miserable? No, I don't look like I'm miserable. You know.
And that was the one thing, because I never met him, but I've known so many people that did, is that Elvis was always in a good mood and having a good time. Unless you started looking at one of his girlfriends, and then he would whack you with that cane he used to carry.
I don't know about the whacking with the cane.
Well, you must not have looked at his girlfriend. So.
Oh, okay. But hey, when he opened up at the International Hotel in Las Vegas, you know, well, my dad wouldn't fly, and Elvis really didn't know whether he was going to go over very well, because he'd been in the Army, you know, and he just got out, and he wasn't sure
that they liked him,
that they're going to like him out there. And you know, he rented us a limo to drive, and we had a driver named Cliff Gleaves, who was.
You still remember the driver?
Oh yeah, he was one of Elvis's friends, and you talking about somebody that was out there. He was out there, but we went out there, and you know, opening night there was everybody you can imagine from show business. There's Barbra Streisand.
This is Elvis' comeback.
And I think they were hoping he would suck. You know what I mean? But he didn't.
No.
He came backing out with that cape on, with a whole brand new look and a whole brand new thing, man, with a big band, which he'd never had a big band
and this
before.
was huge. Backup singers were there. I mean, it was
awesome, man. And then he played the song called Memories, okay?
Sure.
The Memories. But after the show, we were all up in the room, and Elvis comes in, and he said, Mr. Phillips, we always called him Mr. Phillips. He said, what'd you think of the show? He said, oh, man, it was great. He said, that damn Memory song's got to go, you know? And I think he was right about that, you know what I mean?
Dragging down the whole show.
Memories, I don't know.
A few years ago, they had a concert at the FedEx Forum. In fact, Norbert Putnam was there. A lot of the original backup singers
with
were
Elvis
there.
singing on the thing?
Both sides, huge screen. And wasn't that an incredible show?
Yeah, it was.
And it was like you were there, because Elvis was doing his part. And on the big screen, if you're at a big venue, you can't really see him on stage anyway. So, and it was one of the best concerts I've ever. But I'd never been to a real Elvis concert. But it was. The thing that I thought impressed me most was when he came out, and because I went chronologically through his career, but when he first came back, like you were saying, to Vegas, he walks out and he's got that white jumpsuit on, and he looks just incredible. It's probably as good as he ever looked.
Good as
he walks out and he just looked around the audience. He goes, what are y'all looking at? We're looking at you, Elvis, because we never seen.
Well, you know, he
anything
was
like
a black belt in karate, and a lot of those moves he did came from his karate training.
Absolutely.
I'm a black belt in karate too. I'm probably not as tough as I used to be, but yeah, he did all those karate moves in there, you know. And I mean, that's what all these tribute artists, they're just, you know, they're still doing the karate moves, you know. And I mean, it's hard to explain to Elvis. It really is. And you know, I think independent labels going out of business has hurt the music business, because the independents were the ones that were discovering the real talent, you know. And what would happen was the majors would go, they'd find out when these guys' contracts were up, and they'd send their lawyers down to say, okay, hey, look, man, Sam Phillips is not going to be able to do this for you. We can do this for you. We got more money. We can do other stuff. So they actually would talk these guys into signing contracts with them. And, you know, I mean, in one way you can't blame them, but in another way, that just ain't right, man, you know.
Well, there were so many record labels that totally ripped people off. Fogerty, I mean, he didn't play publicly for years until his contract with them expired.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not making one more dollar for these people.
For these guys. I mean, they're all about the money.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad was, you know, and I'm in the music business, so I want to make money. I mean, hell, I'm not doing this just for my health, because it'll kill you, you know. I mean, it will, you know. But it's just crazy, man.
I've talked to a lot of people in Nashville, Austin, which I'm from Texas, went to school at the University of Texas at Austin. And those are all, everybody thinks of those big music towns, but they become so commercial. Now they're even saying that Nashville has just this canned sound that's coming out. It's called country pop. And that the thing about Memphis now is it's getting Boo and I talked about this. Other people in the recording business say Memphis is starting to get a reputation again for doing unique things and saying, let's try something new.
Well, Memphis is kind of always, you know, Nashville, you know, the major record companies, this is my opinion, but I think it's true, they're controlled by the what's the word I'm looking for, the marketing people. You know, that's who's controlling the music business. You know, if there's an artist that's real hot, say like Tim McGraw or somebody like that, well, then all the other labels want their Tim McGraw because that's what's selling.
Right.
And same thing happened with Elvis. When Elvis came out, I mean, I'm not saying there was any bad guys, but Ricky Nelson, the other labels had Ricky Nelson and Bobby Darin, you know, Frankie, whatever his name, Valley. I mean, they all had their own Elvis. That's what they were looking for because that's what was selling. And now, I mean, I don't think major, and I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but I don't think major labels have ever really contributed to anything other than marketing. You know, that's what they can do because they got plenty of money, but they're not. If my dad had a record out, or Jerry Wexler had a record out, or these independent guys, if it sold 20,000, they go, great, let's try to sell 50 next time. Yeah. But now, if your first album doesn't sell a substantial amount, you're lucky if you get that second album, and if your second album doesn't sell, you're done.
You're done. Same thing with all the stars. I mean, it used to, if you were a star, you look at back all the 40s and 50s stars, Clark Gable, all this, they were stars from the minute they became stars till they died.
Yeah.
And that's not that way anymore for actors. I mean, you may know who they are. We were in line at Live at the Garden the other night, and there were some young people talking about ZZ Top coming. They were trying to explain to their friends who ZZ Top is.
You know? I get it, man. I get it. Well, you know, I get introduced a lot. Sometimes I'll be with people, and they'll be young people. I mean, probably like in their 20, 25 years old or something. And I hate to be introduced this way. They'll go, do you know who this guy is? And they'll go, no. And he'll say, well, he's Sam Phillips' son. They go,
Sam Phillips?
You know. But then if you say, he's the guy that discovered Elvis.
They know.
I get it.
Yeah.
They get it then, you know. And so.
Well, I do know what you mean about coming and said, do you know who this is? Because I had the little kid, the redheaded kid off Flipper the Dolphin show. He comes in sleep.
You are
out.
showing your age now.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't think I have to tell anybody. I think they can take one look and figure it out. But he comes in sleep outs, and I'm going, man, look, come on, I want to introduce you to some people. So I'm walking around, and he said, no, let's don't do this. I said, no, it's going to be fun. I go up to my waitress, y'all know who this is? They looked at me and went, no.
No.
Said, Flipper. They looked at nothing.
Nothing.
And I went, he said, let's just stop right here. I said,
Right.
no,
Yeah.
they'll remember. Come on, let's go to another table. Went to another table, the same thing happened. He goes, come on, man, let's just end this now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth.
It's because they impressed you and, your generation. But you get out of that generation, and it's like they ain't Scooby-Doo.
This generation is used to TikTok, where you got 8 seconds of something on there, and well, that's all their attention spans, 8 seconds, But, man, don't ask me my advice, because I don't think I'm bitter or anything like that. But
No, I don't think you are either. You're an observer, and you've seen life.
I've just seen it decline, in my opinion, the music business. There's some great players out there, but a lot of them don't ever get a chance, and because there's nobody with passion like my father had, or like Jerry Wexler had, or like Willie Mitchell had. Scott Bowmore, who on his boat, he does a great. Can I cuss on this thing?
You're doing the show, man. Whatever you want to do.
Willie had a kind of high voice. He goes, Al Green, you old crazy motherfucker. I mean, I think it's one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Well, and he was right.
He was right.
Yeah.
No doubt about it, man. But he got some great music. I mean, great music.
In fact, we're having the backup singers for Al Green going to be on the show when we go live next week from the guest house at Graceland. I mean, there were people didn't think there were any white people at Stax or anywhere else, but there were. I mean, look at Booker T and the MGs. I mean, that was
Cropper,
the house
man.
band. Yeah.
Doug Dunn.
Yeah. And so you have all these people. And the thing I think was most impressive about it was race was never an issue in the music business. It just wasn't. Maybe in other places, but not in Memphis.
Not in Memphis. Somebody asked, who Dan Penn is? He wrote, Dark End of the Street and all that. And he's pretty country. He's from, where's he from? I forget where he's from, but somebody asked him, said, Dan, what is it with Memphis music, man? What's the deal there? He said, well, we just don't let nobody tell us what to do.
That's true.
And that's another one of them, like the A thing I told you about a while ago, that it's true. I mean, Memphis has been that independent on, cutting the kind of music they want to cut.
And if you look at all the stars that came through Sun Records, they were all independent thinkers and had their own way, as you said earlier, their own style, their own way of doing things, because you really can't copy somebody. I mean, you may be able to copy them, but you can't have a whole career because you sound just like somebody else.
Well, when I play out and I do somebody else's song, I do my version of it. I don't mean it's not changed much, but my daddy always told me, that's already been done.
Yeah.
That song by the hit song by, it's already been done. You just don't even want to go down that road, man. I was in some cover bands, and you got to play as close to the way it sounded on the record as you could possibly have. But if you're in the studio, I just don't believe that. I just believe some of that stuff's already been done. And if you're going to do your version of it, do something close to it, but don't copy it. My dad was like a completely drilled into our head. Do not be a copycat. He told me, and this is, I think this is very. My vocabulary is failing me now. It's not because I'm old, but. He said, if you got a hollow stump out in the middle of the jungle, you take a dried animal skin and you take it, put it over there, and tighten it up. And take a guy with some sticks that has some rhythm. You start beating on it with some rhythm. You got music. You can dance to it. You can sing to it. You can play to it. But that's the genesis of feel. And that's what he was always after, was the feel. That's what I'm after now when I cut. And that's what my daughter's after now when she cuts the record, is feel, man. I'm not sure, a lot of people don't quite understand why they like a record, but a lot of the times it's because it has feel. And, your heart beats to a certain rhythm.
Well, it's like Boo Mitchell when they did Uptown Funk, at Royal.
Yeah.
The first time Ron Olson played that, I called him. I said, "That is a hit."
Yeah.
He said, "I thought the same thing." And it was the Memphis horns. That's why they came here, was that Memphis sound.
Yeah.
To get that da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. And because you can't get that. They don't know how to do it in L.A.
Well, those guys did hit arrangements, man. I worked with the Memphis Horns a lot, and a lot of Memphis musicians, and, I mean, they might have had the chords written down, but they weren't writing the music. They were on I think Nashville started this system, but it was the number system, 1, 4, 5 or whatever. Like if you're an A is the 1, 4 is the D, 5 is the E, so you could, if you got to where you could read that, but mostly they were doing head arrangements. They hear the song, the horn players would go, I think this would sound good there. They're not reading something that's already been...
It's almost like jazz, where everybody was just kind of making it up as they get along.
Yeah, and when I cut my album, the guys that were on the hired to do it wanted me to send them demos. And I just said, man, I don't want you to already be rehearsed.
You want it to
know
happen
what you're
when
going
it
to play
happens.
when you get in here, because I want them to be hanging out there on the limb, sort of naked, to where, I know I got to play good now, not something that I've already sat at home and rehearsed what my lead break's going to be. Not everybody thinks that way, but, I just think that's the way to get the stuff out of people that they don't know they have in them.
Yeah. Here's one last picture. This is of Sam, your brother Knox, and the two, Steve Lacy and Jim Elliott and myself. And I'll never forget that day because we had such a good time interviewing your dad and meeting Knox. They were just, there was a presence in that studio, and this is at Phillps Studio where you are today.
Yeah.
And I just thought that it was, if the rest of these people are anything like Sam and Knox, this is going to be a great life I'm getting ready to get into in Memphis. I've been here almost 50 years.
Yeah. Well, you've done great too, man. You know what I mean?
Well, it is, the great thing about Memphis is if people like you, they like you.
Yeah.
If they don't like you, they don't like you.
Well, my only criticism of my brother and my dad was that don't ever give them a microphone to make a speech, okay? Because it's going to go on for a long time,
Jeff Sanford, who, God bless him, he passed away a few years ago, but he was went out to Graceland when CNN did this big special after Elvis had died, about a year later. It was right before they were going to open up to tours, and Larry King's there, and they got cameras all over the grounds, all over the house. And so Jerry got there, and I forget what Jeff was going to interview him because he was on the council.
Jerry Schilling or
Jeff Sanford.
Oh, Jeff Sanford.
And he said he's sitting in the kitchen there in the mansion, and your dad comes in. He walks right over to the kitchen sink, opens the cabinet, and all Elvis had they didn't have like regular glass. It had like mason jars and jelly glasses.
Yeah.
He gets his jelly glass out, and he pulls out a fifth of Jack Daniels, puts it on the table. He goes, "They say it might be a while, so I might as well start drinking now."
Yeah. Hey, we'd go to a bar, and my dad was not a high expensive drinker. He'd say, "Give me the cheapest vodka you got. All I want to do is get a buzz." And he was a Depression era guy. You know what I mean? He came out of the Depression, and so he was he watched all his stuff he spent money on, and I mean it was just. I don't know of anybody that's had as weird and great childhood as I had, and not just childhood, but when Teddy Bear came out,
which is one of my favorite songs by Elvis.
Okay, well we're out at Elvis's house. I know this is probably 6 months or 7 months after the record came out, and so Elvis said, "Hey, Jerry, you and Knox come with me for a minute, and he want to show you something." And he had under every bed, in every closet, in every space that was empty, there was teddy bears that girls sent him.
Wow.
A
lot of teddy bears.
He took those teddy bears, and he was either Le Bonheur or St. Jude. I think it was Le Bonheur at the time, but he gave those teddy bears, to the kids. Elvis was he was a great guy, and just I mean one night he bought 10 motorcycles from Arnold Motorcycle Company here, where I bought my Triumphs from. He bought 10 motorcycles because they all wanted to go riding.
Yeah.
know.
So he just writes a check?
Huh?
Just writes a check?
Yeah, just write a check and go for it, you know. And so, I mean, he was just that kind of guy, man. And you know, I don't know how to explain him, but he was a wonderful guy, great talent, best-looking guy you ever seen.
Yeah.
And you know, my opinion is that, you know, he never went to Europe because I think
the
that
Colonel wouldn't.
Well, Colonel couldn't go. I think
couldn't go.
What I understand, because his visa or whatever.
We don't know who the Colonel was. That's about what we got.
He was good for Elvis, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he was.
And Elvis even said that.
But I mean, Elvis wanted to make serious movies, you know, and be a serious actor, and he could have been.
In fact, Barbra Streisand wanted him for A Star Is Born.
That's right.
And Chris Christopherson ended up getting it, became even a bigger star. But I said, Elvis could not have been any bigger than he was. I mean, making a movie with Barbra Streisand, and I think he would have been good at it.
Yeah.
But he couldn't have been any bigger than Elvis was. What could he have possibly done that would have made him bigger?
I just don't think he liked the cheesy movies that they were putting him in.
And I think it was a formula thing.
I mean, Jailhouse Rock was a pretty good movie, I thought.
Well,
you know.
and the song, and when they came out with the video just of the song, incredible. The choreography in it was amazing. And going back all the way and looking at it today, he was an incredible dancer and the moves.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean,
he wasn't copying anybody.
No.
These were his moves.
And nobody could copy him. I mean, they could say, well, that's sort of like Elvis, but it's not exactly like it.
No.
Your new album, For the Universe, is out now, and tell them how they can get it.
Well, they can get it on any of the digital platforms. You can download it. You can order it from Omnivore Records, the CD, and you can get the vinyl from Selecto Hits. Johnny Phillps and them. And let me tell you one more story. I know y'all are sick of hearing me talk, but
we'll be the judge of that.
Omnivore didn't want to start with vinyl. You know, they wanted to do the CDs first and the digital stuff. So I bought 500 vinyls, 300 black, 200 gold, because I said, I'm getting a damn gold record out of this thing, no matter what.
Even if I have to do it myself.
And so my daughter took one of them and brought it to me. I think it was on Father's Day. I can't remember. Framed up gold record.
There you go.
It says, your very first gold record. And that record means more to me than if I were to sell 1 million records or 500,000, I think it is, makes it gold. But, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It means a lot to me.
Well, and I think it's also cool that you did it now. You know, a lot of people say, well, I haven't done one before. Why would I want to start now? But it's because you keep growing. You know, we all do. And as Rob and I say all the time, well, we learned something today.
Well, yeah. If you don't learn something every day, you're not paying attention. You know, that's kind of the truth, you know.
And you're going to be back here at Lansky's on the 13th to sign your album.
During Elvis Week, yeah.
So if you want to come down here on the 13th to Lansky's, Jerry will be here, and you can get it to sign his autograph. And if you'll buy a gold record for him, he'll sign that one.
Yeah.
Twice.
I'll say one thing before we get off. Where the For the Universe name came from was I've got this saying that I thought up, which is when you're in the studio, you're not playing for the tape machine, you're playing for the universe. The tape machine just remembers it for you.
There you go.
And that's a freeing thing when you tell somebody that's coming in the studio, hey, man, if you make a mistake, it's no big deal.
In fact, I tell people that all the time on the show. I said, hey, this is not brain surgery. Ain't nobody going to die if we screw something up. You know?
It's the truth, man. But so many people are, I mean, today, and I'm not criticizing, but, you know, with Pro Tools, you can fix anything. You can take 5 guitar breaks and take part of this one, part of that, and part of this one, and make one perfect, great guitar break, you know.
Yeah. Rob does that to me all the time. He said, well, the show really sucked, but I can fix it in post.
Well, you better get me off of here before they start claiming I'm Knox or Sam.
Well, thank you so much for coming in. It's good seeing you again. I loved our conversation that we had the other day. We talked on the phone for about an hour and a half. And, we'll have you back after you got the record out a little bit, because I want to talk more about where the industry's going. And I think that'll be your next trip here.
Great. Well, it's been my honor to be here, man. It really has.
Well, mine too. Thank you, sir.
All right.
That's our show for today. Thanks for tuning in. You can catch it on Spotify, YouTube, and right here on Facebook. We'll see you next time.